So it's lovely to meet you all. Formal introductions. My name is Rourke. Online, I go by Rourke Heath. We started a social media channel dedicated towards Photoshop education to begin with. And as generative AI started to come into Photoshop, we moved into the AI, the crazy AI world. And I started a company called GenHQ, which is a creative AI education platform. And our mission is to try and create 100,000 jobs for creatives. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is, getting paid and getting hired. And I had our top employee at our company, Claude, pull all of these kind of crazy stats together. And I want to walk through some of these with you because I think some of them are pretty shocking. So right now, 1 in 10 job postings now explicitly require AI skills, according to PwC. AI talent demand is outpacing supply. 90% of enterprises expect critical skills shortages by 2026. Demand for top AI freelance skills more than doubled, 109% year on year, according to Upwork. Freelancers on AI projects can earn 44% more per hour than non-AI peers. And this isn't about necessarily having 6 months of experience in your back pocket. This is literally upskilling yourself for 1 month. You can earn 44% more than others who do not have AI skills at the moment. These stats are staggering. Workers with AI skills command wage premiums of up to 56% over peers, and AI video generation and editing is the fastest growing freelance skill, which is up by 329% year on year, according to Upwork. In this room, I'm curious, how many of you are video editors or have video editing background, skills? Super interesting, right? So I'd say it's probably around a quarter of the room. This skill, video editing, is becoming ridiculously hard for us, even at our company, to hire. We have 9 full-timers at our company now, and the value of video editors is just increasing and increasing. And right now, there are companies like Runway, right, and all of these big companies who are now recruiting video editors at very, very high 6-figure salaries. Right? And it is becoming increasingly difficult to compete with these companies as a small company like ourselves because they've got VC money. They're buying all the top talent. It's hard for us to compete. Now think about small to medium-sized businesses and small businesses who haven't got crazy budgets for video editors. You're only going to see the value of these people increasing dramatically over time. And the reason for that is because all of us now have the ability to create beautiful visuals. Right? That has been democratized. Everyone can create incredible content now. The only thing, in my opinion, that matters is how we tell that story. It's how we put it together. And that's why I think video editing is probably one of the most valuable skills that you could upskill yourself in today's world. Now, WEF, which is the World Economic Forum, projects 170 million new jobs and 92 million jobs displaced by 2030. And that's an optimistic 78 million in the plus, right? And we obviously see in the media a lot about job displacement. Meta, not long ago, 7,000 jobs displaced. This stuff scares the shit out of me. And it genuinely inspired the reason as to why we started our company. And I'll get onto that a little bit later. Oracle, again, they just laid off thousands and thousands of workers. And this is an interesting time because you've got all these people who are now back in the job market, right? All of these people are now looking for opportunities. And what does that mean, in general for the economy? It means that all these people now either have to go to competing companies or they have to start their own gig. They got to start doing something on their own. One of my biggest concerns about the AI space is that I feel like on social media you hear about this, do it on your own, be an entrepreneur, start your own thing. The truth is that it's fucking hard work, right? And it's exhausting. And that's not for everyone. I do not want to normalize that kind of behavior. I don't think it's healthy. right? We're on Earth for 80 to 90 years. Have a good fucking time. Have a good life and enjoy yourself. A 9 to 5 is totally normal, and I think that needs to be normalized a lot more, right? So we're going to talk about all the opportunities that are available for you out there today. And we're going to talk about, whether or not going and getting a full-time job or going and doing things on your own. Hopefully, we're going to clarify a few things. So yeah, just to kind of brief touchly for those of you who may not be familiar with some of our work in the room. My name is Rourke. We're at Rourke on Instagram. I'm a social media creator, and I started a company called GenHQ. We're an education platform dedicated to creative AI education. And as of right now, we are the largest in the world. We have also, inside of our community, we started it around 8 months ago for creatives. We have created opportunities for our creatives in the community, $500,000 in documented member wins so far, and over 300 plus job opportunities have been created through our program. And that, for me, kind of makes me emotional and very happy as well. Now, this is just like a little sample of like one of our videos that we made with Magnific, which just showcases a little bit about our content. Can we get audio? If maybe it's my laptop. Try again. Amazing. So that was just a fun little project that we did for New Year's with a little Easter egg in there about how human creativity still matters. So I want to come on to this, our mission. In my opinion, nothing matters more in this industry right now than to create 100,000 new jobs. And this mission has actually transformed my life. And it came around in a very unassuming way. I was in an Uber on a way to an AI event around 1.5 years ago. And I got in the Uber and I said to, I was having Uber chats, as you do. And the guy in the front said, what do you do for a living, sir? And I said, oh, I work in AI. And I felt the fucking energy in that car drop, right? It was like a dementor had just like entered the car, sucked all the life out of it. And I knew I was in for a tough conversation for the next 20 minutes. And he said to me, Rourke, I hate AI. I hate it with a passion. And I said, okay, cool. Let's talk about this, right? As a thought leader, I want to have these conversations with the public because that's how we progress as a society. So I said, tell me why you hate AI. And he said, well, my son is in university. He's 19. And I don't think he's going to be able to get a job at the end of it because of AI. And I said, well, that's, I think that's terrible. What can we do about it? And he said, well, I feel like people need to be teaching people about AI so that we can create opportunities. And I said, okay. I said, well, if I told you that I work in AI, but my job and my mission is to create opportunities for others, does the sentiment change? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Right? And it was at that moment when everything for our company changed. And I thought, okay, this is like the only thing we have to focus on now. It's creating opportunities for other people. And hopefully, we can make just a small impact with you today in this room. So what are we going to cover? Today, we're going to look at where the money is in the industry right now. And this is not based on just like made up facts. This is all from the data that we've collected from 3,500 students that have gone through our program. And we've identified where all the best opportunities are right now, where are people making the most money, and where are the opportunities that people can capitalize on. Next, we're going to look at pitching moves. So we've got a little bit of information at once you've potentially found a client and you're in conversations with them, things that you can have under your belt, which we have data on, which actually helps you close and land more opportunities. And we're also going to look at how you can become more employable, right? The specific skills that companies are hiring for right now. And again, this is all based on data, not just like made up facts. So, numero uno. where the money is at right now is in creating hero ad creatives for brands and agencies. There are people who are at this event right now who are charging anywhere between $95,000 to $250,000 for a 30-second commercial to 60-second commercial. This is kind of reserved for the top people in the market, right? This is probably one of the highest barriers to entry of one of the topics that we're going to talk about. But the truth is that people are creating commercials now. Some of them take around 20 days to complete for a project of that size with a team of like 5 people. So I think there's a lot of glorification online about how people make so much money with these ads. But the truth is it still requires a writer. It still requires a lot of people with technical talent that you have to pay for. And typically day rates for these kind of people are like $1,000 a day, right, to help work on these projects. So there is still good margins in this. You know, we're talking like 30, 40% margins on these kind of projects, especially if you're working with a good team. So let's have a look. So what I've done is I've put together, these are all videos from our community in GenHQ. These are all our students. And these are like the kind of content that they've made, which has helped them land, if not, this is the work that they've done for the client, which is valued between 40 to 100,000. So hopefully we've got some audio in here.
You don't understand. I need more color.
Cool. So that was our dear friend Marcus, who's a student in GenHQ, and he posted this project and was able to land a 75,000 euro project off the back of this work. Amazing. So next up, we've got AI video production agency and retainers, one of the most classic models in the market, right? And there is I would say like no shame in this model. I think this is one of the easiest ways that you can build up consistent revenue. You know, being a freelancer, first of all, your emotions are like this, and then also the finances are like this too. And it's honestly it can be a bit of a shit show trying to have a stable life, especially if you've got family and you've got other people to look after. It's not just you, right? You've got commitments, you've got bills, you've got kids. Building that consistent revenue is super, super important. We noticed this when we started in our company. We have brand partnerships that we work with brands, Magnific being a great company that we work with. And we were kind of working on this one-off basis. And we were like, do you know what? This is just painful. First of all, it's a lot more admin work to constantly do new contracts, redlining, legal, all of these things. Whereas if you can find a client that you're happy with, you can land these retainers and they last a lot longer. You build relationships and you can really build on them. What I also love about these is you can really use these as a way to learn and get paid to learn at the same time, which I think is essential. And we're going to come on to that a little bit later on as well. And there's also a couple of success stories of people in GenHQ who've managed to land 14,000 monthly retainers or 6 clients with 1.3K deliverables. And again, a lot of these people are actually delivering this work by themselves. You know, and AI has empowered people to work by themselves. But for me, I think it's a real shame. You know, I think working by yourself is great. Sure, it's financially empowering, but it's lonely, right? And I feel like the creative process deserves to be collaborative. It deserves to have other people in the loop, you know? So I think starting out, sure, it makes sense. Do it on your own. It's quite exciting. You know, you can get a lot of extra money that was never possible in the past. Great side hustle. But really be thinking about it when you land these kind of projects. Start thinking to yourself, how can we actually turn this into larger projects where I could bring someone else in, you know, help them get paid, and also complete the work. So this is a piece of spec work which was done by a member of GenHQ called Anton, who we're actually just about to hire at the moment. So this was one of my favorite projects. I think he smashed it. So this one was put together by Anton in 6 hours, right? Start to finish. And he posted this work. And off the back of that, he was able to land a retainer package worth 5 figures, which is amazing. Now, the other one is kind of, or one of the other opportunities right now is what we kind of spoke about earlier. And that's full-time creative roles. There are so many companies popping up in this space right now. You hear about new companies all the time in this space coming up because the barrier to entry now to create a company is lower than ever. So people need to build teams, right? And I think what we're going to start noticing moving forwards is we are going to see, obviously, you've got these behemoth companies like the Googles and the Metas who are doing all these layoffs. And as we mentioned earlier, all those people have to go somewhere, right? So we're going to see all the power going into these 5 to 20-man teams, and they're just going to be everywhere. There's going to be so many companies out there and people who are able to create a fantastic living for themselves in small teams. You know, even like psychologically, I feel like this is a real benefit because smaller teams of 20 people, you know, I don't want to go into work and not know half the employees who are in the office. I want to know my team. I want to be friends with them. I want to build relationships. So I'm hoping, in my optimistic view, that in the future, having these full-time positions and being able to work in an office, or even if it's virtually, and you get to hang out with people on a consistent basis, you get to know people on a deeper level. So that's my optimistic way of thinking, that I really hope that we kind of move in that direction. I mentioned companies like Runway earlier. Now, there are, if you go on LinkedIn, so many opportunities for creative AI at the moment. You know, video generation, video editing, prompt engineering. You see these kind of skills popping up all the time. And there are some, you know, great opportunities out there. We have tried to hire quite a few people, and they're all being bought out by massive companies. So the talent is scarce, and video editors are growing in value. This is, I would say, probably one of the best pieces of work that has come out of our community, and this is Eldar. And I want to give you a little bit of context before. So there was a Samsung competition where the winner gets $10,000 plus a job opportunity at Samsung. Eldar submitted his application, joined GenHQ. After 3 months, he created this project, and I thought it was beautiful, honestly beautiful.
Why just look at the world when you can create it? Here, the only truth is the one you dare to imagine. Because a masterpiece isn't something you witness, it's a reality you ignite. Don't just inhabit a world, out-imagine it. Go build yours.
Right? I just think that's such a beautifully crafted advert. And the little bit about the process of that one, that is majority C-dance generations. And I believe it took a couple of weeks to put this one together. So a really well thought out project made with Adobe After Effects as well to add in some of those cool motion graphics. I feel like now we are also moving into an area, right, where, you know, knowing these tools is one thing. Right? You can increase your value significantly just by being up to date. You are super valuable to any company if you are just up to date. Let me tell you, it is our full-time job to be up to date and to teach the public about what is happening in this space. We can't fucking do it. We can't keep up to date. We have 10 people, it's our full-time job. So please, I do want to say, take that pressure off yourself to try and keep up to date. Just by following the right people on social, just by subscribing to the right newsletter, you can remain up to date and get those snapshots in the industry. There's things you can do with Claude nowadays, where you can set up routines, where it scours the internet, and it will send you all of the new updates that have come out in the creative space. In our Slack channel that we have internally at our company, we have one that's doing this every single day for new updates. I think the update today, 11 Labs, it was a new company who've released a new music model that's come out today. As well as that, I saw something about Seedance 2.5, which is very exciting, and just getting these like snapshots when you log onto your computer and you start the day and you see this information, knowing it is really, really empowering, because you can then go to your employer and say, look, maybe we want to test out this new thing. And we're going to come on to that a little bit later as well. I want to talk about this because I actually think if there's one of the major things and takeaways from this talk, I actually want it to be this. There is a huge shift happening in content creation at the moment. We spoke earlier about creating one-off adverts and the fact that you can create tens of thousands of dollars for yourself with one-off adverts. We are going to see that come down and down and down and down. Okay? And it will get to a point where some of the best creatives are probably being paid between $10,000 to $15,000 for these adverts. And that's because AI allows us to create content at scale. Okay? Performance-based marketers. Are there any of you in the room? Any performance-based marketers? Yeah? Yeah? 3. I want to talk to you, right? Performance-based marketers at the moment, in my opinion, are some of the most valuable and interesting people. And I want to talk about it because they work at volume and they work based on data, right? So these performance-based marketers are using AI to create 100, one-shot Seedance generations, 15 seconds long, an entire advert, if you will, prompted, created in 15 seconds, mass posted, right? Posted all over Meta adverts, and then they can track which ones perform well, and then they can adapt. This one performed well, okay, cool. Now we're going to create 10 variations of that one, 100 variations of that one, 50 variations of that one. Run all of those. Okay, this one performed the best. And you keep going down this tree, right? This is, whether you like it or not, the world in which we're moving in. The ability to A/B test is through the roof right now, okay? So UGC, right? Claude with MCPs and CLIs, right? They can connect to Magnific, right? So Claude can now entirely automate the UGC process. But not only that, because UGC, first of all, I've got a bone to pick with UGC. When people come into the AI space, a lot of people go straight to UGC. Why? Because it's easy, right? It's just, the whole point is that it looks bad, right? And that's kind of the whole point of it. You're not trying to create something that's necessarily tasteful, that has craft, so everyone floods to UGC. And the UGC market is very, very, very saturated right now because the barrier to entry is so low. It's easy to create, these imperfections and these, someone sat in a car seat filming themselves talking about how much they love Big Macs. It's easy to do that. So what I like to say is wherever things are hard in this space, wherever things have a high barrier to entry, go chase those things. That's where the interesting things are happening, right? Go learn those skills because they're going to be the things that are going to increase your value over time. We recently just created a Claude system when we were playing around with MCPs and CLIs that allows you to generate content at scale. So the way it works is we go to Claude and we say, hey, I would like you to create 100 adverts with this character, these 18 different locations, and this product. I'm not even going to tell you what I want you to do. I just want you to figure it out. I want you to make things that are deemed creative. Okay? Now, AI can't be creative on its own, right? So what we did was we ingested 2 years of prompting knowledge, right? We have a database which has a Bible full of prompts, good prompts that we've used in the past. It's important to log these things, right? Claude can log all of this stuff now. You can set up Claude and connect it to Magnific so that each time you run a prompt, it pulls it into a text file. Not only that, you can create Excel documents now where you can mark content as approved, rejected, pending approval, write in notes as to why things aren't good enough, or maybe why something is excellent. And then each time Claude generates something new, it gets better through reinforcement learning. And this is what performance-based marketers are doing. Now, I'd be a hypocrite if I'd say that I haven't tried it ourselves and I'm out here talking to you about it. So we tested it, right? We created 150 ads. We ran them on Meta overnight, and they were shit, by the way. They were bad. But we ran them because we wanted to see if it worked. We wanted to see if it converted. And I believe we got overnight around 10 sales, and the price of our education platform is $97. So that's $970 that we generated, right? And we spent $671. So we made a profit by doing this. Well, actually, you could probably argue we didn't because the seed dance generations are very expensive. But regardless, what I want to get at here is that was our first test without any reinforcement learning. Then we went through all those ads, went through the ones that performed, made notes as to why they would have performed, right? Gave Claude that knowledge, and now each time we generate, we're refining it further and further and further. And you can do that for storytelling. You can do that for cinematic shots. You know, the opportunity for scale is kind of untapped now. How am I doing for time, by the way? Has anyone got the time? 11. How long have I got? Half? 20 minutes, thank you. Cool, so like, I mean, you guys have all seen UGC before, so we're gonna skip through this. Because we've got lots to talk about. So local businesses and small to medium-sized businesses walking into your local businesses is the easiest yes that you can get. And we actually have data on this. We've had Gen HQ members as a task. They were tasked with going out into their small local businesses, and we had huge success rates with people going in and landing projects. You know, some clients on $3,000 a month by just going into bakeries and things like that. And we're going to come on to that a little later. So here is an example of, I would say, a local business. Local to SF anyway is Neo, and this is a project that someone in Gen HQ made.
Neo, bringing humanity home.
Thought it was a little cute one for the robot lovers in the room. Cool. Next one is niche specialization. You can charge 22% more per hour than generalists, right? So let's say you wanted to create commercials around real estate, pharmaceutical, automotive, you know, whatever your jam is. Maybe you grew up watching Top Gear and you just love cars, right? Start there. Find something that you're passionate about and make spec work in that space. If you care about pharma or you care about makeup, for example, make things that don't feel like work for you and just go all in on that space, right? There is a huge pie of revenue in this market, and there is so much to be made off just the crumbs alone. There is so much opportunity. So this next video that we're about to watch is actually another Gen HQ member who we ended up hiring, who is now full-time with us, and this is Siri. And he's a car guy, and he created this commercial here. Super cool. Very, very cool. So, moving on, if we may. Cool, next one. So we're at 7 out of 9 now, so thank you for bearing with me as we go through this list. The next opportunity that you can really capitalize on right now is workshops, right? Workshops, I mean, we're all here, and there is so much opportunity in workshops, you know? I was running some numbers last night on some people in Gen HQ who are running workshops, and there are people who are doing, you know, putting a few adverts localized on meta ads in their local community, running some small 20-person workshops and charging, $200 for a 2-hour-long session, for example. And, that's $4,000 right there. And they're spending $500 on advertising to try and get it. The rest is, your time and your labor, and also venue hiring, right, to kind of host it. But there's still profit margins to be made there, especially at scale. Workshops are incredibly profitable right now, and there's a lot of people in this space who have made a name for themselves, who are then also doing workshops as an extra way of earning revenue. So this is something that you can branch out into. It might not necessarily be your niche that you just do on your own, but there's opportunities to go into this and expand your revenue in different ways. You can also white label AI ad services. We've got someone in GenHQ who's doing ads specifically for TV, right? He doesn't want to do anything else on social. He cares just about TV ads. And yeah, corporate training. There's actually someone here. I don't know if Ben is in the room. But we did corporate training with VF Corp, the company who owns Vans, North Face, Timberlands. They own heaps of different clothing brands. And doing those kind of workshops and education with corporate companies, huge amounts of money in that, right? Massive amounts of money in that. I have no idea what this one is. Oh yeah, so we could probably skip over this, but this was like a cool example. I'll kind of briefly skim through it. This was a GenHQ student who created like a productized workflow. And you can use this so he found all these references of adverts, products that he wanted to create like a productized workflow. And he's using Weavy here in this example, but you could just as much so use Magnific Spaces. And you can productize these workflows for companies, right? Where you can upload like client briefs into it. You can upload and ingest like your brain and your creativity into it. You can use references, maybe the client's providing those. And you can create these workflows so that you can batch produce content, and sell them this workflow. And you can also not only do that, you can also package like maintenance fees, or you could be a dedicated specialist whose job it is to just create these workflows that creates tasteful content for your client. And this is very, very doable right now. With about a month's worth of education, if you spend using tools like Weavy or Spaces, you can get so granular with this stuff. And I'm going to be so honest, if I wasn't doing social media and running GenHQ and I was on my own, I would be doing this right now, because I think there is huge, huge financial upside in selling these kind of services. People in GenHQ are charging $6,000 to clients to build these workflows. A lot of it is like consulting. You go in, you learn about what their problems are, then you go and you build a workflow to solve that problem for them. Nearly there, 8 out of 9. So audience, tools, sponsorships, and inbounds, right? This is exactly what we do at our company. It's our bread and butter. Build a following online, okay? One of my favorite sayings is you don't need to become famous, you just need to get found, right? All you need is to find that one person who's willing to pay you money, right? And there are lots of people out there. You don't need a huge following to make good money. You need to be targeted, right? LinkedIn is a great place to make money right now, if not one of the best places that you can make money in the AI space by posting your spec work and everything like that. It also leads to daily inbound leads, right? And we have 150 plus inbounds a day at the moment from different AI companies who are looking to work with us. And that gives you power. That gives you the ability to pick who you want to work with. And it means you haven't got to spend money on marketing. Everyone comes to you. It's great. Let's see. So this is an example of a branded commercial that we did with Magnific, which was just our team playing around. And this is what we made.
Are we rolling?
I remember my first generation. It was terrible, actually, but I always just wanted more. I told myself that I'd stop when the next Nano Banana came out. I did not stop when the next Nano Banana came out. And then video generation arrived. Kling, Sora, Veo. Suddenly I could bring everything to life. But then I realized I hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. So I decided to go outside, and that's when I saw it. What was it, you ask? A package with my name on it, but I hadn't ordered any package. I was so excited. I ripped it open, and that's when I realized it was the bill. Subscriptions out the wazoo and my wife yelling, "How are we gonna pay for all this?" But then I heard it. It was like an angel or something. It said, "You should have used Magnific, the best AI tools, all under one subscription." Right, so that was a lot of credit goes to Matt in the middle, our lead editor at our company. So amazing work on that project, and that was a lot of fun for us to create. So the last one is studio and equity plays, right? There are people here, PJ Ace, Genre AI is his company, started a studio. There's Wonder Studios in London, right? An amazing company. They're hiring a shitload of people right now, okay? We've actually had students in Gen HQ who've been hired by Wonder Studios. There's a lot of, American-based studios, another one, Promise Studios. There's lots of them around, and there's huge opportunity in this. We've had one of our star members in Gen HQ raise $5 million for his AI studio, and others are in talks with big features. It's rare, don't get me wrong, but there is huge, huge opportunity in this space to kind of go down the studio route. Cool. What is this one? Let me just see.
Are we rolling?
Oh, no, we've already done that one. I went backwards. Cool. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip through this, but I just want to show you that, like, there is opportunity to create your own IP. This is Chuck in our community who created this incredible kind of series, his own world, as you will, right? Super creative, and there's like a kind of skip into a bit. You know, it's like his own show, and there's huge opportunity in these kind of things at the moment.
Chief.
Oh, let me go back in. Cool. Okay, I'm going to rattle through this for the sake of time. So, how to find clients. The #1 most effective thing that is working for people in the industry right now is making spec adverts and posting them on LinkedIn, okay? Make projects for dream brands that you care about. Make things that you actually give a shit about and things that you're passionate about, right? Post it on LinkedIn. I cannot express this enough, how effective this is. It is working like an absolute dream. You can use a tactic called jab, jab, right hook. It's the Gary Vaynerchuk method, which is you create a piece of content for a brand that you love, you tag them. You create another piece of content for a brand you love, you tag them. You then create a third piece of content for the brand you love and you tag them, but on that third shot, you send it to them in DMs or someone important at their company. Find somebody who works in marketing. Find someone who's a decision maker because they all live on LinkedIn. They hold the credit card that you need to get paid. The next one, the easiest, lowest barrier to entry is local walk-ins. I said that we had students do this. Lucas went into a Marbella coffee shop, landed a client. Alendo went into a local perfume store, landed a client. David went into a Vegas power washing place and managed to get a client. There's lots of opportunities in that, and it's the easiest yes. Third one, make custom examples for one target, like free samples. This is very effective at the moment, right? It is creating 5 images for a brand, going on their website, finding out what their brand identity is, creating 5 images, go create one short generation, send it to someone who matters at that company. Just get on a call with them, right? Now, this is data that we have pulled, and these are people's first clients, okay? This is early doors. Right? And I want to preface this. This is more than I made for my first brand deal or any project that I worked on. I did it for $50. Cheapskate. Absolute cheapskate. And these are real data that we've got from our community for first paid gigs. And the important things about these is that you get paid to learn. Right? It is not, and I repeat, it is not about learning the tools first and then finding the clients. It is about finding the clients first and then learn how to fulfill what they want. The hardest part about this industry is finding the client. So please don't think I need to get better at this and this and this before I start. Wrong. Find the client first and then get paid to learn how to do the work for them. That's the absolute best case scenario. When things start to get a little more serious and you get your serious first client coming in, $2,500 is a great starting block. Whenever you land that client, that now becomes your floor. You don't accept anything below that, right? As soon as you hit that new peak, that's your floor, right? Nothing else matters below that. And you can tell people, I'm just too busy. I'm too busy. And they say, I can only do 2,500, nothing more. And it works really, really well, okay? And then things, rush fees. This is important. If, this space, people expect work, high quality, fast turnarounds, right? 48 hours, charge premiums for that. Your time with your family, your time with your friends to go to the pub or to do whatever it is you want to do is valuable. Do not undercharge yourself, okay? That time that you could be spending with your kids or whatever it is, that's valuable, okay? Charge your time appropriately. Advice that I've got is you just want to get your foot in the door and then raise. We had Ahmed, one of our best success stories in Gen HQ, charge 300 euros for his first project, and it turned into a $40,000 project later on. Get your foot in the door. Always over-deliver for the client, right? Even if they're paying shit money, right? Over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. They will come back and hopefully reward you in dividends later. Again, don't undercharge out of fear. A Gen HQ member came to me recently and messaged me and said, hey, I've got this project. I'm thinking $37,000. Is that good? And I said, no, go 75K. And he landed it the same week, right? Don't undercharge yourself. Objections. Some of the biggest objections that we see in this space that people struggle with when they get to that point of close is buyers saying, hey, can we even use AI? Is copyright what's the legal side of things here? AI looks fake. Have these answers ready, okay? Can you legally use AI? Now, this is a lesson that I learned from the CEO of Wonder Studios, Justin Hackney, who's a very dear friend of mine. And he said to me in a podcast that we did together in Gen HQ, he said, when we first started the studio and we were trying to land clients, this was one of the biggest pushbacks. It was about the legal. He said he paid a lawyer to go and do some research so that he just had a fucking piece of paper that he could wave to someone and say, I've done our research. We have legal who've gone and done some research, and we can do this. So one of the best things you could do if you're looking to try and get those larger enterprise clients is pay a lawyer to do a little bit of research. Have that in your back pocket, and I promise you, pricing is one thing in the AI space, but trust is the most important. Right? Clients will just simply not work with you. They'll shut the door if you don't have that element of trust. And if you can say that you've done the due diligence of going to legal and getting that real information on your side, and you've got cases where you can kind of prove to people or just have something that you can come to them with, very, very helpful. Look, AI looks fake. I think a lot of the time you have to remember that the clients are not as up to date as you are, right? We live and breathe this space. We love this space. You need to come prepared knowing the industry. You need to know about the updates that have come out. You need to know about the new music models, the new voice models, the new video models, the image models. You want to have all these things in your corner. And that will help you close the deals as well. Confidence is key. How am I doing for time, sorry? 4 minutes. Okay. We recently did an interview with Elias Roman, who is the... am I okay to go over by 2 minutes or no? Yeah? Okay. Cool. We recently did an interview with Elias Roman, who is the VP of Google Labs. He's the one responsible for all of the top video models and image models coming out of Google. And I asked him, how do we just keep up in this world of AI? And I think he gave some really good advice. No matter if you're a manager or an individual, this is really solid advice for you. So something else that I want to talk about is this feeling of overwhelmment in the AI space, right? It's inevitable for even people who are at the very, very top of this space, who are so invested in it. It is so overwhelming trying to keep up with all these tools. I can't even imagine the pace of what it is like internally. So what advice do you have for wider audiences of people who are just trying to keep up in general?
All right, a couple thoughts. Maybe some for individuals and maybe also some for managers. Maybe I'll start with the latter and then go to the former. One of the lab's values we really protect and cherish is what we call tinkering. It's this idea that messing around both with Google tools but also tools outside of Google is so critical to just have time to absorb what's new, but more than that, it's really hard to be a tourist and try something and then move on to something else and then something else. You don't really understand what it's good at or bad at unless you're using it with intent. So this idea that tinkering, it's totally fine if there's a project, a long-term project that you're spending an amount of time on every week and you're trying to figure out what is the best tool for the job, what's now possible in terms of this project that wasn't possible before. And instead of feeling guilty, oh, I'm doing this instead of my core work, it's like, that's as important as anything else. Like, that's how we sense make, is by using these tools with real intent.
I'm going to skip through. The main key point that he said is that you never have, in your lives, you never have time, right? It's not about like trying to carve out the time, because you'll never carve out the time, right? You have to be diligent. It's before you start the workday, you need to carve out real time for yourself to just play, be that inner child that you've got inside you, and get that creativity out. You know, hiring's changed in a lot of ways. I've gone through 500 plus different job applications to join our company. And unfortunately, I don't care about your experience. The truth is that the industry is changing. I don't care which company you just came from. The only thing that I care about is the last 3 projects you worked on. That is an up-to-date representation of how creative you are. And for me, in this creative space, I mean, there's S-tier players in this game, right? And I'm going to pull like Max Verstappen for any F1 fans out there. He said you're only as good as your last race, right? And I believe the same thing to be true in this space too. For us, we're only as good as the last video that we posted on social media. We can't like look at previous wins and dwell on them. We're always moving on to the next. And the same thing is for your projects. When you're making something, take real pride in it and try to create something that you think you would, you know, have as your absolute staple for your shop window as well. Make your portfolios and your socials amazing, okay? Your portfolio and your social media is your shop window. People are coming to your shop to look whether or not they should buy from you. And immediately you want to set a good precedent. And they're going to click on the latest thing. So make sure that you're keeping these up to date, your LinkedIns, your whatever it is, keep it up to date. Based on data that we've seen inside our community, people who are getting hired, job applications out there, this is the most valuable skills. If you want to take a picture of that, feel free, but we're going to kind of breeze through. Something super valuable is what you, oh, go back, sorry folks. Cool? Cool. So what you can do today, right? This is the reverse engineering method. In the early days when I was like getting really invested in this space, I'll get out the way so you can take a picture. What you can do now is you can look at what jobs are available on the market. LinkedIn is a great place to go and look and observe, see what key responsibilities are out there, and reverse engineer those skills to help you become more employable, right? These are the key skills that people are hiring for right now. Reverse engineer it, go learn it, and then, you know, you'll eventually make yourself more valuable in time. Parting message that I want to leave you with, this is a little piece that we made about the current space of AI.
AI is the death of authenticity. Or is it? Scroll through your feed and every image looks the same, every video hits the same beat, every caption sounds the same, and everyone is blaming AI. But AI isn't the problem. You see, AI is a mirror. It reflects exactly what you put into it, nothing more. So the real question is, what are you putting in? Because you've lived a life that no one else has. That beautiful summer in a city where you didn't speak the language, the smell of your grandmother's kitchen, the song that was playing when everything changed. That's authenticity. And no machine has that. Only you do. The people creating slop aren't hiding behind AI. They're being exposed by AI. Mediocrity as a creator isn't enough anymore. The ones who are bringing their human life experiences to the prompt bar, those are the creatives who are making content that matters. Authenticity isn't dying. It's just becoming rarer and more valuable than ever.
Thank you, and to kind of leave you on this, authenticity, in-person events, human connections, everyone is making the right step right now by being 1 in this room and 2 at this event. These are all pictures from in-person events that we've hosted with our GenHQ community, bringing creatives together from around the world. And if you're interested in joining us on our mission, you can scan the QR code and come and join us in GenHQ. We have about 180 hours of education immediately upon your subscription, which we're updating every week. We've got 5 people working on it full time. And we're deeply passionate about trying to make an impact on hopefully every single one of you in this room, but just on the creative industry as a whole. So thank you very much for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.